I read an article recently stating that people were experiencing climate anxiety. Since I live in an area that's been experiencing climate change for a long time, I was surprised that others are just now experiencing it. But that's how it is when you are an earth empath or just empathic in general. But getting back to the article, one of the article's suggestions was to get out in nature. It wasn't their number one suggestion, but it made the list. So why? Why did it make the list? Well, because even psychologists suggest it, to get out in nature. So what if you knew that a long time ago, some of your family members used to have such a strong communication with nature, and when I mean nature spirits, I mean land spirits, or water spirits, or animal spirits, or plant spirits, or stone spirits, all of these things. What if you knew that some of your family members, or many of them, used to be able to talk and listen, and in such a way that it was almost like chatting at the kitchen table about family issues. So these ancient ancestors of ours had a regular dialogue where they were engaging in some kind of reciprocal conversation with stone spirits and plant spirits and animal spirits, for example. So getting back to psychology, in this article that was suggesting, getting out in nature, psychology only deals in the mental body. And for example, like Albert Einstein said, you have to recognize, and this is his quote, that no problem can be solved from the same consciousness that created it, unquote. So Einstein I'm using the Einstein quote in this particular context of if you're going to a psychologist and you're solving your problems within the mental body, which can be useful for many things and has been for many years, but a problem like this, I believe, can't be solved within the mental body. So psychologists probably won't be as successful in this venture because it's staying within the same arena, for example. So this is where animism can help. And just to review that animism, on a very bare bones level, is the belief that everything has a soul or spirit. And it's more than that, but let's just go with that definition right now. So under the umbrella of animism, for example, are three main groups that I've found that are very prevalent throughout traditional cultures, no matter where you are in the world. And those are stone spirits, plant spirits, and animal spirits. And because animism, again, that's not just about animals, it's about the belief that anything has a soul or a spirit. So because animism engages one's consciousness outside of the mental body, provided you take action to maintain spiritual relationships, which we can get into in another podcast or several, it can provide a calmness, and I dare say even anxiety reducing effect. So participating in this kind of dialogue with nature spirits at the end of the day can reduce anxiety in the arena, especially of climate change or climate crises. So when a person is actively participating in the web of life, that's kind of what we're talking about here. Whether it's giving offerings, which you can actually do on your nature walk, for example, or maybe you might learn about a specific culture's traditional wisdom. These are just some examples. I think this causes a person to not help but feel less anxious because they're taking action to be part of a relationship with the web of life, with the natural world, and therefore that pretty much crosses into the arena of climate. But let's dial it back a little bit, and we have to start somewhere, okay? So, and what better place to start than with animal spirits? Because right now in the 21st century, many people love their physical animals. They love their pets, they love their dogs, their cats, their fish, their snakes. There's all sorts of pets people have. So it's not too impossible or outlandish to imagine that animals have spirits. Not just your specific pets, although that's a good place to start, but also ancient animal spirits, ancient animal beings who worked in harmony with traditional cultures worldwide for thousands of years. So, how does one go about communicating with animal spirits? Well, I want to kind of reiterate that I'm not really talking specifically in this particular podcast about like one-on-one animal communication with your pet. Like, that's kind of a separate, a very interesting subject, but it's a separate subject than what I'm really addressing. What I'm talking about is more of a wider reaching animal spirit. Perhaps the animal spirit is from the land that you currently live on. Another possibility is an animal spirit might be associated with your family background, your genetic background, or where your family came from. For example, in Nordic cultures, they call that a philia. And there's a lot of traditional cultures that have some kind of name. The Nepalese call that the kul. And so there's a lot of different areas that, different geographical places around the world who have some kind of animal spirit that's associated, or more than one, associated with the family. So that's a possibility. Or you could have some kind of past life connection with a particular animal spirit. These are just three possible ways that it could happen. So, what's one of the ways that I receive messages? I guess you could call it psychically. What's my psychic mode of delivery, so to speak, or spiritual mode of delivery? I work a lot with clairaudience, which is, hearing spiritual energies, I guess you could say it like that. And one of the clairaudient messages I received one day was through the famous melody of the Pink Panther theme by Henry Mancini. And you would think that I would have heard the main theme, which is the one that everybody knows. But what I kept hearing was the middle part, called the bridge of the song. And to those of you who know a little bit about song structure, there's a beginning, middle, and end, like anything else, and the middle part is usually called the bridge. So what I kept hearing was the bridge of the song. And because the guides sometimes use double meanings when they communicate to pretty much anybody, I was able to realize that what they meant was that the panther, in this case I was actually able to be pretty literal in my interpretation, but that the panther animal spirit is acting as a bridge between worlds. And you might have heard me mention in the last episode about when a shamanic practitioner navigates through these different consciousnesses, they go between worlds. So lower world, middle world, and upper worlds. So one of the ways I try to connect with my animal spirit is through a melody. Now there's other people out there who can teach you a power animal song, which is maybe something I'll get into at some point on this podcast. But you can already find information, about how to do that on the internet, without too much trouble. But you can also explore this idea through using a rattle or a drum. Sometimes you see a lot of practitioners who use a shamanic drum. Those aren't the only two instruments you can use. There's other kinds of percussive, either percussive sound producing instruments or percussive, I should say percussive tone producing instruments, or percussive non-tone producing instruments that are used in shamanic journeying. But one of the ways that you can find out more about your own animal spirit family is by taking my class, Getting to Know Your Animal Spirit Family. This is an upcoming 1-hour class which will include a guided shamanic journey to meet your personal animal spirit, so you can experience what that feels like for you personally. With the class, you'll also receive a 20-plus page PDF booklet with journal prompts, and it'll also have frequently asked questions and a written form of the class. You'll also be able to ask me questions, as there will be a dedicated Facebook group for the class as well. It will be through Zoom, so the live portion. The details are forthcoming, and I encourage you to sign up at my link tree, which is www.linktr.ee/now-moment-journey. And you can go to the description below, which has all my links on there. And I also wanted to mention I have a Patreon that I co-founded with Marissa Lovett called Shamanic Earth Medicine. And we talk about a variety of topics such as animism, shamanic journeying, heathenry, Sather, sacred tobacco, plant spirit medicine. And just recently we both did videos on weather working. And this coming September 8th, Thursday at 12 p.m., I will be conducting we have monthly ceremonies through Zoom that our Patreon subscribers who subscribe at the $5 per month level, that's the added benefit they get, is to be able to participate live in the Zoom ceremony. And this Thursday at 12, I will be doing the candle blessing ceremony, which is where each person at that level gets their own specific candle with a blessing that I facilitate through my medicine bundle. And we have, just to tell you some of the other benefits you get, at the $1 per month level, you get the videos, which we do at least one a month. Sometimes you get two of them, so you get 2 for 1 on some months. And then the $5 per month, you get to participate in the Zoom ceremony. Both Marissa and I alternate every month there's a ceremony. And then at the $15 per month, you get all of the aforementioned benefits, plus you get to ask us about an intuitive reading where we ask our helping spirits a question on your behalf. Plus there's additional access to class discounts. But check out the description below here if you want to check out like some free stuff that I offer, like my YouTube channel. A lot of free stuff there, a lot of free videos. My Linktree has some free stuff on it as well. There's a quiz in particular that's free called Are You an Animal or Plant Spirit Archetype?, which takes you through, it's a very short quiz. It asks you a variety of questions so that you can kind of see where you're at with animal spirits and plant spirits. But again, check out the content, the various links in the description. And until next time, I wish you well. Take care and blessings.